Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood. Hello, I'm Lucas Southworth.
And I'm John Bishop. I thought we weren't doing anything.
That was what we do.
That was robot voice.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I like to add some spice to it just by, variety. This is like a chat. It's the only podcast brave enough to ask the question.
Hey, what's up with our format?
Hey, what's up with cars? I do like to say it, even if we're mad at each other.
Yeah. So, Lucas, what are we talking about today?
You got to ask it. I like to ask it, because then I don't have to realize that we haven't really formulated. We're doing another Auto-Biographies, John. Of course.
All right. That sounds fun. Who are we talking about today? What group of people? What several characters are we talking about today?
I feel like you're saying this in this way to be like, oh, but we're only talking about one, but we're kind of talking about a group of people. And that is, of course, Flo and the Motorama. You just told me how to pronounce this
Motorama?
Seconds ago. Motorama, thank you. And the Motorama Girls.
The Materame.
That's probably it.
So,
yes,
we're going to be talking about Flo, the owner of the cafe.
The V8 cafe, no less.
And the showgirls that aren't in any of the movies.
True.
That she used to be a part of?
Yes. And as a matter of fact, we are, again, basing this one off of a fan email. A friend email. Emma's my friend. My friend Emma sent us an email.
But is she not also a fan of the podcast? Nudge, nudge.
Yes, she is. Presumably. Because she listens to it and sent us an email. Nice. I'm going to read the email now. It is, again, from Emma. Thank you, Emma. It reads, so I know that you've explored entertainment in the Cars universe. Have you at all talked about the Motorama Girls? To my knowledge, they only exist in Cars Land and Disney California Adventure, but basically, Flo is obsessed with the 50s because she was in a 50s girl Doo-Wop group called the Motorama Girls. I'm just going to say it all the ways. Which answers why she's so obsessed with making everything out of records. She probably has a lot. They have merch and play their music, sometimes, in the land. That had a question mark. Also, to my knowledge, they only perform songs that are car puns of real songs. Is it important? Nah. I just like the Motorama Girls are kitschy and incredibly insignificant part of the world. Good luck, guys, and please come investigate Cars Land with me. As we've mentioned several times, it is our greatest goal of this podcast to go to Cars Land. So hopefully we would love that. We would literally love that.
Absolutely.
Thank you again, Emma. It's a good email. It's a good topic to give us to talk about.
Okay.
Don't you agree, John?
Absolutely. But I think this does make us look a little bit silly for pointing out the tree, for the Flo's V8 Cafe tree, Christmas tree. I was confused as to why it had like a few records and some music, and that was it. But I guess that is kind of her whole thing.
Yeah, that was fully an answer to us being like, why is she so obsessed with records? She pointed that out directly as a way to say, you all don't know your stuff. So thank you for that. Honestly, if you ever notice us not knowing our stuff, please point it out to us.
Not knowing our stuff? What are you talking about? We're the experts. We know so much about car.
I know multiple car. Like 3?
There's
maybe
Mater,
more.
And there's Mr. Kerchoo, and
Mr. Kerchoo himself.
And
the other ones you all know about.
Yeah,
we don't need to say them. You know them. Flo, that's the episode.
All right, so Flo was in a Doo-Wop group?
She sure was.
Lucas, I'm going to level with you. I
Yeah.
didn't. Okay, so I apparently her license plate says showgirl.
Yes.
That's all fun, well and good. But then I was like, what does that mean? Because
Yeah.
I'm going to be real. I had to look up what a showgirl was because
Okay.
to my knowledge, a showgirl, like I thought it was kind of like a burlesque thing, but apparently it's not. And it's not the more intense thing, which is good for this kid's movie, but it's
Yes.
also like I feel like it's still very ill defined in my mind as to what that is.
Oh, I mean, it's a nebulous term that I don't have a definite definition for you.
I
Uh,
know it's a terrible movie that like ended someone's very promising career.
don't know anything about that, but I believe you, I guess.
It was a critically panned movie, and the actress who was okay, it's Zach Morris. What show's he in?
Zach Morris is in Saved by the Bell.
Saved by the Bell. All right, an actress from that show went on, and her like first big foray was in Showgirls, and it was just critically panned, and she has not had much luck ever since that movie.
It's Elizabeth Berkley is the name of the actress.
Ah, well,
She was
I hope things have turned around for her.
she was Jessie in Saved by the Bell.
Are you sure she
If you
wasn't
were
just
wondering,
so excited?
she may have been. I know what you're referencing. I've seen like almost no Saved by the Bell, but I do know that very special episode of Saved by the Bell where she did like caffeine pills as a metaphor for I think meth or cocaine, one of the two.
I don't think they would have done like no, yeah. You said meth and that's what Adderall basically is. So yeah, just mentally performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah, yeah. We've gotten fairly off topic. Uh
So Flo was a
yes.
showgirl. All right. So we
Flow
know
girl.
this
Flow girl.
because
Sorry. Go
show
on.
was a flow girl.
Yes.
Uh, and how do we know this? What were we sent alongside that message?
Well, actually, I sent back a deleted scene that I just also knew about.
Okay.
I knew the Motorama Girls existed before Emma sent her email because of this specific deleted scene that I had seen before, in which it explains how like Flo and Ramon meet. Ramon being her husband, who is the paint job guy in the town. But I didn't think it was canon. Like I thought it was something they fully abandoned, but apparently it's like a large part of her character in a few books I've looked at. Of course, Cars Land, California Adventure. So it's a full part of her character that, again, she was in a doo-wop group in the 50s and was a showgirl. Also, we know it because her license plate does say showgirl. So that's like a pretty big hint, I would say.
Which does kind of answer today's question from Liz. We're both with people named Liz, and sometimes they ask questions. The joke is that we're not going to tell you who it is, but it's fairly obvious each and every time.
Yes.
Okay, so today's question from Liz: who's Flo?
Okay. I actually have a pretty similar question from Liz, so I'm going to go ahead and also do it. We're both of our significant others are named Liz, and we don't tell you which one, and that's the joke. I know we already explained it. I thought it might be funny to do it again. Tell me if it was or not. Don't. I don't know. Uh, but my question from Liz is: isn't she the one who runs the gas station? So yes, she is.
Yep, one
And
of the like three in Radiator Springs.
one of the three gas stations.
Yeah.
I mean, Fillmore has like organic fuel that he also gives out. I wouldn't call him a station. I don't know what the
Okay.
third one you're referring to is, though.
You know, I know Flo has the cafe. I considered Fillmore to have his own like supply of it. And I
Yeah,
just kind of figured that there was like the government one because that's how they regulated Lightning. Because I don't think that they would just like give Lightning McQueen cafe food for, I don't know. Cars is weird.
someone should do a podcast about that. But yeah, as far as I know, Flo and Fillmore are the only games in town on fuel, and Flo also does oil at the cafe, if I remember right. Maybe other fluids. We've talked about that. We don't know how far her reach extends
And in case it's
vis-a-vis. car fluids.
And in case it's not clear, Fillmore, that's clearly some illegal stuff that he's dealing. So,
At the
okay.
very least, it's not regulated, which is like an important thing that needs to happen with gasoline.
Uh, Lucas,
Yeah, what's
this
up?
is I got one hot. It's coming in hot. We got another question from Liz.
Ooh, live. Not for
Question
you,
from Liz.
audience.
If you're new to the podcast, we both have partners named Liz, and the joke is that I'm explaining it a third time. Okay, so
Okay.
today's question from Liz is everyone always asks, who is Flo?
Oh, no one
No
asks
one
how
ever
is Flo.
asks, how is Flo?
Oh, man. You got me there. I think she's probably pretty good. She seems to be in a very loving marriage. The spark seems very much alive between her and Ramon. I'd say, wouldn't you? She has a thriving business now that lightning has revitalized the town of Radiator Springs.
Yep. I'd like to think that she's very happy.
She
But
now has actually, I was going to bring up Mia and Tia are now her employees. At the end of Cars One, you see them, I think,
they work
working at
there?
Flo's. I think
Oh,
that's like
weird.
a tiny little snippet at the end of Cars One. Is they work at Flo's V8 cafe at the end of the movie.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah, but that's okay. They just followed their celebrity crush to his hometown and then fell in love with Mater 8 times, but didn't remember any of them.
Yeah, and had reality bent around them each and every time.
They were dogs for a while. Who cares? Cars doesn't make sense. Someone should do a podcast about that. This is going to be the one where we repeat a lot of stuff, I guess.
So, so, so Lucas,
What's up?
I don't,
Yeah?
I don't know what to say about this character. Normally, I've got something to go off of, but like this character is summarized pretty much in one sentence of a character in Radiator Springs who owns a cafe and used to be a doo-wop girl and also is married to the tattoo artist slash clothing designer.
I think there's a lot of potential there. I think we could talk about the dynamics of what it means to sell gasoline. We could get back into food a little bit with that, and also like I don't know how like obviously food sustains humans, but like cars need gasoline literally to move. So that's like a weird dynamic that they
Not
have to
necessarily to move, just to drive.
just to move like in any sort of effective way. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Uh,
I'm pretty sure on an empty tank they can just do that creepy tire walk thing.
oh, they love doing that tire walk.
Mm.
A little waddle they love doing. But I mean, we could also talk about like what it means to be an entertainer. What car music is like, because as Emma pointed out, apparently all of the songs are car based, which is pretty weird. Uh,
Okay.
Marriage. We could get back into marriage.
I
Owning a
think
small business.
what I'm trying to get at here
Sure.
is what if we made this an episode also about Ramon?
Yeah, sure. I don't know, man. We could play this one fast and loose.
Which brings
Obviously, we
me
didn't
to
prepare for
my
this one very
not
much.
very fun
Oh
fact
my
of the
god,
day. Okay, so yeah, it's rough.
you're a fraud.
Okay, so uh, Cheech Marin is the voice of Ramon. He is a part of a very famous duo called Cheech and Chong. And my not very fun fact of the day is that if you notice that in that 70s show, the wonderful character played by Tommy Chong just kind of disappeared randomly, that is because Tommy Chong was arrested. And do you want to guess what for?
I mean, I don't want to assume it's weed based, but like I assume it's weed based, man.
Okay, so I would have assumed that it was something to do with possession, right? That's what you would assume. No, it was
Yes.
drug paraphernalia. He was
Okay.
he was arrested and put in jail for 9 months for selling like pipes,
Okay.
which like
Yeah.
that's so weird. Why are you gonna arrest someone for just selling weird pipes? This war on drugs is a sham.
Yes. Release those who are in prison for non-violent drug related things. Just
Absolutely. and
Yeah,
also help them reintegrate into society because you have made it harder for them to live.
nice.
That's your not very fun fact of the day. All right, we can stop talking about Ramon now.
Were you actually struggling to come up with things about Flo, or did you just want to get to Ramon?
Lucas, there's so much to talk about. She was a showgirl.
I know. I was. Gosh, I hate. I hate it when you do this
When I
because I never catch
ineffectively
you on it.
lead you to things.
If you
Yeah.
want to talk about Ramon, just say, "Oh, she's married to Ramon." So
But
this is the
then
fun. This is the not very fun fact,
but then how could I lead you around for 3 whole minutes?
which I'm sure was very fun to listen to me. I don't know, basically lay out a lot of our points for the next of it. Very
I
out of
mean,
like character.
it may not have been fun for the audience to listen to, but we can edit that out. It was very fun for me to listen to, just thinking the whole time, oh boy, he's gonna be so mad.
I'm not editing that out. They need to know your deception. They need to know that if they ever meet you in person, a lot of them already know you. They need to know that their friend can't be trusted.
I can be trusted, but I can be trusted to consistently do that.
You can be trusted to a point.
I can be trusted in a way that isn't necessarily good. All right, so uh, in this wonderful clip you have sent me,
True.
let's just point out the fact that the girls come into town, and how are they described?
They're Motorimi girls, and they have fins that go on for miles. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, their fins on their hind end are as tall as the cars are long, and that is just absurd. But it's very reminiscent of those spoilers that are just ridiculous, like of the rapscallion in the first film. He's just got, what is it, 8 different spoilers that go up super tall. Except all of these
Yes.
showgirls, they just have that, and that's supposed to be a very alluring quality.
Oh, I was hoping you would. Let me assure you, all the men, all the boy cars, the presumably straight boy cars, are like super into it. Like to the point,
Yeah.
there is a scene. This was a deleted scene that never got made, so it's just a storyboard. But there is an incredibly uncomfortable bit in it in which a fire truck, who I assume is Red the fire truck, is biting his lower lip while
And
spraying one
jizzing
of them
all
off.
over. Oh, yes, spraying water on them. Yeah.
Yes, which it was the thumbnail of the video I found, which I just don't care. Because like you know how videos on YouTube will often like make their thumbnail like something sexual,
Really
so people will
sexual.
click on it.
The juicy bit,
That
if you will.
that seems to be what they did here, but it made me uncomfortable that they were like, "Oh, I'll point out the sexy bit, so people click on my deleted cars scene."
Yeah, it's like a Hardee's commercial or a
Yeah,
Carl's Jr. commercial if you're from a state that I'm not from.
true. Yeah, but the basic gist of the scene is like I'll post this on our Twitter probably. I don't know. Look for it, I guess. But uh, the basic gist of the scene is like Flo is singing karaoke, and Ramon's like, "Man, she's doing great," and Lightning's like, yeah, how'd she end up with a chump like you?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I'll tell you."
Real
Not
classy.
yeah. And they flash back, and the girls are the motor girls are on tour, and they stop in Radiator Springs because like I think it was said that they have annoyed their tour manager so much that her transmission has gone out, and she
I
needs to
think
see.
I think that was just like their makeup gal who was just worn out from the traveling, and it was just that they were a traveling group that would just go from town to town and perform, and that
And
that poor helpless lady who was left behind in the vehicle was just like taking care of them and was just overworked so much that she couldn't move.
they specifically stated that someone's transmission had gone out from trying to keep up with the motory girls.
Hmm.
So they so they've given their tour manager a heart attack basically. or their liver has failed or something. Their kidneys have gone out. So they
Ooh.
understandably have to stop. And I don't know, presumably she gets treated by Doc Hudson, but that's not shown. It is shown that she gets like treated, but not Doc doing it.
And you know
And
who else
then
gets
they,
treated?
oh, tell me, John,
The whole town.
to
Because
a show,
do you know
girls.
what those showgirls did?
Oh, they do what Motorimi girls do,
They
is what
did
they
what
said.
Motorama Girls do.
I
Oh
genuinely
boy.
forgot how to actually pronounce it, so I'm glad you said it. I'm gonna keep the bit going, but I am glad to hear it. It's already left my mind though, so
See,
who
you
could
just
say?
got to remember, don't say it like how my mother says ramen noodles. She says ramen noodles. And
Okay,
sometimes when she's really wanting to bother me, she'll call them Raymond noodles.
that's actually that's like a very dumb joke, but it's very much my humor, so I appreciate that, John's mom. I know you're
Yeah.
listening. Probably not. Uh, but yeah, and then they like throw a huge party, and that's when Red the fire truck, who is usually portrayed as a very kind-hearted and like very soft-spoken person, just like has the most sexual encounter of his life by spraying off. Gosh, he is biting his lower lip in that screenshot, and I really hate it.
It's always the
But
quiet ones, Lucas. It's always the quiet ones.
no, he's my favorite. But then they stop in Ramon's, and he gives him like pinstripes and a flame. He calls it a flame job, which I also don't like, but that's neither here nor there. But
I
he
know that
says
he
he got
describes it as he starts working on them.
yeah, yeah. Either way, he gets to the last one and he says he throws his airbrush to the ground, which he doesn't have hands, so we don't know how he throws it. I guess he just stops holding it, but they make sure to not show us how he holds it. I've looked for that, and they do not give us any insight into that. And it's of course Flo, and she says, "What? You're too good to paint me?" And he says, "Nah, you're too good to be painted. I won't touch
Hmm.
a classic." And then the next day, all of her friends leaves, and she's like, "I'm gonna stay with this guy I met yesterday." Which, like,
So,
I don't know, love at first sight can be a thing, but like that seems like a short-sighted plan. But I guess it wasn't because they've been married for like years and years and years.
so there's something to be said about how it's very common for people, specifically, it's very common for men to objectify others, specifically women.
Yep.
But in this case, there is an argument to be made that his objectification of her is in some way more acceptable.
Okay. Tell
So,
me
like,
how.
because in this case, she is literally an object that is a car.
I okay.
So, what I'm saying is, like, he refuses to alter something that is, like, a classic in a definition that, like, okay, so if he were to paint her and she is a classic, that could easily result in like heavy penalties for him because okay, so if you want to alter your house but you have a historic house, you're not allowed
Okay.
to do it if your state says that you're not allowed to do it because it's a historic house. So if that's a similar situation where she is actually a car that he's not supposed to alter,
Uh,
there's really something to be said there.
there's something to be said about the loss of personal liberties within the Cars universe if you're not that's that's hugely invasive legislation you're proposing exists in the Cars universe,
I mean,
which
Mac is a pack mule who is a person.
he gets paid, I guess. But
The trains, their whole thing is that they carry other people inside of them and they don't get to go anywhere else.
well, that's more their biology than anything else, I would say.
I'm
But
just saying, like, a lot of personal liberties don't really exist because of a lot of practical reasons.
yeah, but I don't think, not in America, John. No one would
Not in
ever
America.
infringe on what a woman could do with her body in America. But sorry. Uh, but
Lucas, this is a really hard position to defend.
it is,
um,
John. But
okay, but
I'm going to make it harder in that I sort of see it. If you're going to relate it to our universe, it feels more like he is fetishizing her, like, race almost. in a very harmful way.
Uh, all right. Okay, so I will say you're pointing out something that's uncomfortable, whereas I pointed
Yes.
out something that was uncomfortable and then tried to defend it. So,
You want me to defend
okay.
it?
No.
Because you know I'm kind of right? Like, it's not a one-to-one, but it's
Okay,
as right as your thing.
the thing is, there can't be conflict if we both agree on all of the things. And we pretty much agree on all of these terrible things being terrible. So what do we do? I want there to
I
be
mean,
conflict, Lucas.
this isn't a story-driven podcast. There doesn't have to be a through line and conflict and a hero's journey. We can agree on things. Like, I agree that
Uh,
if we disagree sometimes, that will cause more comedy, but, like, I don't know, man. You don't
okay,
have to
so
generate it.
so the fire truck was totally nutting, right?
I don't want that to be true because it seemed very public, and I think there's reasons that it could not be true. And we've also said card. I said it, I guess, is like so many things that isn't that. But like honestly, I can't say that it's not 100% of the way, and I don't like that.
Then we have to think of the whole hose as
Oh
being
God,
his
John.
penis, which even worse than thinking about the fire trucks, all of them having a penis be their tool.
Yeah,
Uh, you have to think that means like everyone in the same situation, it's the same. So like Mater,
no.
he's a criminal. He's a disgusting, disgusting criminal.
Well, he doesn't. One, I
He
don't think this
wraps
is
his
true.
penis around people to carry them off to places.
Oh, they get carried off to places. I didn't like that one. But one, I will go ahead and say I don't think the fire truck's hose is their penis. I'll admit, man, it's not unconvincing, but it's one of those things, one of those classic. I don't want to think that, so I'm not gonna think that. But two, Mater doesn't like. I don't know how to say this. He doesn't spray anything from his hook, so that's Mater definitely not. You know, nothing comes out of his hook.
So are you implying that all the fire trucks are just like the breeding stock because they're the only ones that can just ooze the stuff?
No, you're implying that, and you're trying to say that I'm implying it.
All right, so the old man fire truck in Planes 2.
This is about flow, not about fire
He's
trucks.
got a
Stop it.
super old nasty peen that he's just spraying down everything with.
Don't worry, they did update it for him though in Planes 2. They did do a lot
They
of work
got him
on
a
him
new
and fix it up.
a new breeder penis.
Hey man, gotta take care of the elderly, I guess.
All right. So let's talk about Flo again. She
I
was
would love that.
she was one of the Motorama girls, and she was the only one that wasn't like really pink and didn't have the weird. Why do they have fins? Just big old fins.
She does have fins, but at least in the. And I will say, I've looked up
She has
some
normal
stuff.
fins though.
Yes, yes. Like they are, like the other ones are like towering. And I have looked up like some. Since it was a deleted scene, I wanted to see what like they represent them in like the merch at Disneyland. And they have updated them to be more. They look more like Flo, and they like are all different colors instead of all of them being pink and Flo being like her bluish green color, which didn't
Did
make
they
any sense.
did they keep the paint jobs?
That Ramon gave him?
Yeah.
No, fully not.
Okay, good.
They weren't
Because
good paint jobs. One of them was pink with red flames on them, and it didn't look good.
pink with red flames like on just their mouth.
Yeah,
It
I
was
didn't
real
love it.
weird. It was like a fire beard, but
Yeah,
specifically a bad one.
yeah. The pinstripe was nice. He did a fine job with that, I guess.
But you don't want to give someone like a gross fiery blood beard on their face. Why do
Unless
that?
they, I mean, hey,
I mean, if that's what
maybe,
they ask for, then do it.
yeah,
It's your
yeah.
job.
This is
In case it's not clear from earlier, obviously I'm not okay with the objectification of this car who is a person. I
I
think
think
that refusing service in that context was chauvinistic and rude of him.
yeah, he was very.
It
Yep.
was at his work that he specifically objectified
Yeah.
this person
Okay.
and
Yeah, you're
refused
absolutely
service.
right.
All of that was bad.
Yeah. John, it's one of those weeks that I don't know how to work in the segment I do, so I'm just gonna do the. We have submissions for the wiki quote, but like I don't know, I'm taking my power back and naming it this for this week. But I'll get back to the fan submissions next week. Quote of the day.
Give me that fan submission of the day.
No, I just said I wouldn't. This week.
That's my thing. Is that I repeat what
No,
you say in some way, some part of it.
yeah, you do like sort of a bad job repeating what I say in a sort of funny way. No, I've noticed.
Yeah, give me that bad repeat
There
job.
you go. I like that. I don't like jobs in there. But this week, I
That's
actually
what
have two.
that's what Bill Gates said.
What?
I
What was that joke you just made? No, we're.
I don't like that job's in there
Oh, okay,
because he was his
okay.
main
No,
competition
okay.
for a large
I
portion of
thought
their lives.
you were saying, "Give me that repeat job." Bad repeat job was what he said, and which I guess you could. Whatever. I'm gonna do the segment now.
That was actually a pretty good scathing commentary on Apple. I like that.
Yeah. But this week I have two quick ones because I don't know, they don't imply anything. They're just dumb things people wrote on Cars wikis. The first one is on worldofcarsdrive-in.fandom.com/wiki/Motorama. That was wrong. Girls Billboard. uh,
Lucas, are you able to say it right?
Motorama.
No.
Motorama.
Yep. There you go.
Okay. See that? This is why I created a bit for myself so I could protect myself. I'm
But the
very
bits made
delicate.
it worse.
No, it has. It's confusing me a lot. Anyway, we are on the wiki page Motorola Girls Billboard. Uh, and this one in its entirety reads Motorola Girls Billboard is an decoration in cars fast as lightning.
What? Does it actually say Motorola?
No,
Okay.
I'm confusing everyone. Motorama Girls Billboard is an decoration in cars fast as lightning.
See, it's when it said "and decoration" that I assume, that I started thinking, oh no, does it actually say Motorola?
No, but it does in fact say is an decoration.
Okay.
Cars Fast as Lightning is like a weird mobile game they did. I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but I don't know. I thought it was funny that someone made a grammatical error. I guess is that one in its entirety, and it was also a one sentence wiki page entry. For the other one,
The whole page is just that?
no, that sentence is the entirety of the wiki page. I don't know if that what I said is all of the wiki page. It's all
Oh
that's
boy.
there. But for the other one, we are going over to worldofcarsdrivein.fandom.com/wiki/flow, which I can say. And we are going down to names in other languages. And it got a nice little chart here. And it says, and it's the language, the name, and the meaning of the name are the three columns they've got here. First, we've got Spanish, flow, which means flow. It's spelled exactly the same, which is pretty good. Then below that, we go to Polish, and then it's Lola, and the meaning is Lola.
Okay.
And then the last one, they only have three other languages listed here, although I'm sure Flow has names in more languages than that, is Finnish, and this one is Flura, spelled Floora. And then for meaning, meaning is question mark, like not written out. It doesn't mean question mark. They don't know what this one means.
Flura.
Yeah, who can?
Definition: Flura.
Yeah, like you didn't. You didn't actually translate anything or tell us what Flo or Lola meant, so just put Flura again, I guess.
Or just not
Or,
put any of those things.
yeah, you only have three, and the three you have are Spanish, makes sense, Polish, pretty specific language, and Finnish, not, I don't know, Chinese, Japanese. Those are very. They definitely translated these movies into those languages.
Lucas, come on. Chinese. It's not like that's the worldwide market for most films, including a lot of American films. And, has the two highest spoken languages in the entire world?
All those things are true. I don't know if you knew this, but you said they weren't
Wait a
true.
minute. What? Those
Those
are
things are
true?
true.
Mandarin
I
and
don't know.
Cantonese? Is that what you're
Yeah,
telling me? Oh
I think
boy.
it's what you're telling yourself.
Ah,
But I feel like because I've made such a big deal of it now, a weird fun fact in my mind forever now is going, or for at least a while, is going to be, oh, in the Finnish release of Cars, Flo's name was Flura. No, I don't know what it means though. Don't ask me what it means.
oh, I know what it means. It means question mark.
Scientists haven't gotten that far, but anyway, that's the wiki quote segment that I do. That's all of it.
All right.
Yeah,
So, was it okay? What was it? Lula?
the Polish
Lola?
one was Lola, just
Lola.
Lola.
Okay. So you remember Flura, I'll remember Lola, and we'll
Hopefully,
have
both of us can
some
remember
tidbits.
Spanish because it's just Flo again.
Yeah, shoot, I forgot. What does that mean again? Like, could you translate flow for me?
It actually means Flo, still without the
Ah,
W. I can't. They didn't say Flo. FLO means FLOW. They just said Flow means flow. So that's pretty cool. Good job, someone who made this wiki. But actually, good job. I use it so much. We haven't
mm.
talked about the fact that she was in a doo-wop group very much.
All right. First, explain to
Yes.
me
I
what
knew you were going to
doo-wop
do this.
is.
I'm very bad at like defining genres of music. So I'm just going to Google doo-wop definition real quick. Like if I heard it, I feel like I would be able to tell you, "Oh, that's doo-wop."
Is it the one that
But
goes ooh up doo up?
sure.
Is it like that?
Well, John, it's a style of like small group vocal harmonizing, commercialized as a type of so-called street singing in the 1950s, in which like words and nonsense syllables are chanted in rhythmic harmony to support the stylized melody of the lead singer. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we don't need to talk about specifically the fact that she was in a doo-wop group. I think the fact that like she was in a performing group is I don't know interesting on its own.
Yeah, but I'm going to point out that according to Google Translate, if you try and translate Finnish flura to
Okay.
English, you get the English word fleur.
I'm sorry.
Fleur?
Spell that one for me.
Fleur? Fleur.
FLEUR, like floor.
Mm-hmm. E-U-R.
That's the French word for flower. That's not English. Okay,
Well,
we're
apparently it is.
okay. Whatever. Gosh, this is a weird one we're doing. I'm enjoying it. I think it's funny. I guess.
Okay, so doo-wop. She was a doo-wop singer. She's obsessed with specifically like vinyl and doo-wop, and she's stuck around a town with a strange man who refused her service.
I mean, when you put it like that, yeah, those are all true facts about her.
But it's also okay because he likes to show off his undercarriage so the whole town can see.
That is, huh? We're not painting a too a too kind portrait of Ramon here, but
I mean, he is a skilled artist. We can say that, I think.
and a friend to Lightning McQueen, I guess, which is I don't know a high praise again, I guess.
Right, so let's talk about these videos again because I want to say something. So in this video, he's like, "Oh, how'd she ever get stuck with a dingus like you?" And then like when I was watching that video the first time, it went on to the next video immediately, and it was an alternative ending, not ending, beginning where they go to a truck stop, and that's how Lightning gets lost.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in that one too, Lightning was a real ding dong because he was like, I'm looking for my friend Mac. He's this real ugly looking Dumbo. And it's just like, what the heck? Can you not like put down your friends for a second, Lightning? And
I
it's
mean,
just making me think that maybe Lightning was supposed to be a worse person than he is in that movie to begin with, and he was not a good person.
yeah. Uh, I was gonna point out that like, I mean, that's his journey in the first one. He wasn't that bad, but he wasn't much better in Cars.
I mean, in the first one, he didn't care about other people, but in what I'm seeing in these videos, it's that he specifically wants to insult and hurt people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. I'm here.
two kindred souls, two artists meet and they fall in love and they stay in this Radiator Springs just living out their days.
Where'd she live?
I think she was just a traveling performer and that was like
No.
it.
Where did she live after deciding to stay in Radiator Springs last minute?
Well, this is
Sally is like
a
a
Disney
younger
Pixar film,
car.
so she almost certainly immediately had the cafe when she decided to stay.
Nah, man, that's not how we explain things. She had
But
to work for that.
that's how
That's not
Disney
how
do.
we explain them.
Okay.
We take the things that Disney do, and then we say, no, that's not how this works. John, this is the concept of our podcast.
I'd like to think then that she was immediately like she just decided to stay and just started like sleeping on people's couches throughout town, but she stopped doing that when she slept on a handsome fireman's couch.
Oh my god. Red's my favorite. This is why you're doing this. But
Maybe.
did she move in with Ramon, you think, immediately?
Uh, Almost certainly.
Yeah.
She decided to stay in Radiator Springs immediately after meeting him, so I have to assume it's with him.
Yeah, well, as he says in this deleted scene, I'm going to misquote this. When you know, you know. I
Yeah.
don't think that's what he said, but that was his sentiment at the very least.
How did you know she was the one? You just know? I think that
Yeah.
might have been what it was.
Again, we got his sentiment down. We got like the gist of what he said. We did
We
watch
might
this,
understand the gist of how he may have been feeling when he was trying to convey a message.
and we watched this like minute and a half clip, like I don't know, 45 minutes ago. So that's pretty good.
I'm going to say 55 because we're on minute 50 of recording.
But we're not on. John, I don't want to disrupt because it'll be less than that in the thing. Because like I cut out
Because we're
the
on
spaces.
minute insert time here of recording.
We both know I'm not going to do that.
Oh, shoot. That's just going to sound silly. Ugh.
Almost like you planned it. I know there's something to talk about with her being in a singing group and all the songs being car puns, John. I will, just as a fun thing, I don't know, it's kind of like the wiki quote, but I'm just on Google Images. So I'll just read some of their album titles, which is fun. The Motorola Girls Jeep Date. This one they have, and as far as I can tell, these are just like full vinyl like sleeves that they. I don't know if they're merch you can buy or if it's just like things hanging in Cars World. I would probably say the second one, but it's like a propaganda looking one where they are following a looks a lot like Sarge across like a American flag, and there's some planes up there. It's pretty funny. There's of course Flo and the Motorama Girls. Go with the flow. So she's sort of taken a front seat at this point, sort of like how the Four Seasons became Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. You know about this, I'm sure, John.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do because I watched the movie Jersey Boys.
That's a good movie. I love that movie. Sorry,
fan.
I'm very passionate about Jersey Boys. I think it's an underrated musical and an underrated movie. I really like Frankie Valli.
Yeah.
They have an interesting story. Watch Jersey Boys. Yeah. This has been our Jersey Boys fan cast. I haven't done this bit in a bit. I'm rusty.
The Bursey
Now,
Joys.
that was what?
The
What
Bursey Joys.
Just because the letters were switched? I was
Yep.
gonna sit and do a good one based on.
I had to
Can't
fill
take
time,
my pod
Lucas.
off of you.
I'm giving you time.
John, again, I edit this. They wouldn't have known. I could have taken 30 minutes. But now I'm just gonna say, oh, what a pod. Oh, what a cast. That's it. December 1963.
Not Carbra Ann.
They didn't sing Barbara Ann.
What?
That's the Beach Boys. What are you talking about?
I'm so confused right now. I'm confident that song. Oh, it was in the movie, but it was like their competition. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, what I went with for our podcast, our fan cast for Jersey Boys is December 1963. Oh, what a cast. Because that's the full name of the song. You know the song I'm talking about, probably. It's a very famous song, actually. You probably do know the song. Do you not know the name? Do you not know the song?
Oh, what a night!
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you're just quiet for a minute.
Late September back in 45.
I
What
did
a
say the correct things like 2 minutes ago. So
what
that's
a
okay.
very special pie to drive.
Are you
What
having
a
a stroke? What's
what a
happening?
lady, what a car. I don't know.
Are you trying
Okay.
to again? No, real quick. As I have to explain each time I do this bit, we've been on this bit that's supposed to be a throwaway joke each time, but it doesn't have to relate to cars. It specifically is like what we would like. Oh, what would the podcast be if it was about Jersey Boys? It doesn't have to come back to cars when I do that bit.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever, man.
Okay. So I forgot what my fun fact of the day was going to be, and I've been distracted for a few minutes trying to like think about it.
Sure, it hasn't shown.
It hasn't? Oh, good.
Yeah, you're fine, bud. I'm an editor. I edited out all of the awkward dead space we've been having the past few minutes.
Okay. Okay. So, fun
Do you
fact of
have
the
one?
day.
Okay.
I don't have a fun fact of the day.
Just say a fact you know.
Uh, Fun fact of the day. There once was a train that exploded because a man was sick and tired of, I think, the exhaust fumes, so he just like sat on like the enclosure for it, and then the train just exploded. All right,
I guess.
so uh, Doo-Wop inspired a later music trend. This is maybe a riff off of a fun fact called, I think, no, wait, it was there's a riff off of. It became something like a jazzy thing. It was bebop, and that's where the name bebop comes from, of the duo Bebop and Rocksteady. They're both names of genres of music, or maybe subgenres of music.
I mean, genre is good enough to call them, I'd say. Yes, that's true. Bebop and rocksteady are genres of music. Bebop based on doo-wop. I never made the connection between bebop and doo-wop, though.
I
I did
think.
learn something. Good job, John.
All right, so doo-wop.
Yes, please.
I
You
don't
have to
know
make.
anything about doo-wop. I don't know what showgirls do. I thought it was going to be like sexual. I thought showgirls were strippers. I'm going to just lay it out there. I thought they were
Okay.
strippers, which
Yeah.
to me meant that these showgirls showed up to town and they just did like a strip show for everyone. And then Red busted a nut, and then all the guys went crazy for it. And then after all these people get this just wet nut all over them,
Please
then
stop.
all the girls go get fire jobs painted on their face, and then
Oh
one
man.
girl
Ah, fire
gets
job.
yep
That's what
gets
Red's doing. Okay.
oh
Yeah. But it's not
okay.
because again, I don't want to think that's what he's doing. So it's not. I saw the joke.
All right, so then she just decides to stay with this strange man, which, like, I guess makes sense to a person who's been living with all these strange women for a while now on a bus.
Yeah, John, I understand and I feel similarly. I don't feel qualified to talk about showgirls or doo-wop, but we have to make one singular point in this episode.
All
Like
right, so she owns
all
a
the nonsense.
cafe.
Yes.
That's weird, right?
Cars, they don't eat, or do they? They do. We've talked about it extensively.
They eat not only fuel and oil, but also human food. So her cafe might actually have food.
This feels we're going in a better direction now. We've been rudderless for an hour. But
Do we
yeah,
think that she cooks?
I will say in Carsland, Flo's V8 Cafe is a place you can eat at, and we're people, and if we eat gas, that will go bad. So that's, I don't know, some amount of evidence that she cooks real people food.
Because my thought is, I haven't seen like a chef in Radiator Springs, and I don't know if there's anyone else that she hires other than, at the end.
Yeah. So I would assume, yeah, like food is not so rare that I would assume, like, because it doesn't show up a ton, but it shows up enough that it's not like this weird thing that the cars experience, especially in Cars 2. It happens all the time in Cars 2. So I would think they would have like not only a fuel restaurant but a food restaurant, and I guess Flo's is both.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me, but
How did
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Do you want someone who handles fuel to also be cooking your meals?
I was going to say like, and do you want to eat at a restaurant that's also a gas station? But I've done that several times. I on the way
Same.
back from the Florida trip, I told you all about when I freaked out about Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. I did eat at an Arby's that was also a gas station. It was fine.
And
It was just felt like an Arby's.
there's like a converted gas station like mini mart that is also a diner now in Paris,
Ooh,
Kentucky.
yes. Oh, I've actually been there. I know exactly which one you're talking about. When I
It's pretty good.
Yeah, when I had a summer job with the Lexington Theater Company, we had rehearsals near there, and it was good.
So yeah, like we've eaten at gas stations before.
Can you go like again in Cars Land? You can go inside Flo's Cafe. I don't actually know that. I just sort of assume it because it's a restaurant, and usually you can go inside restaurants, but not all the time, I guess.
Hmm.
But like, can't is it like Sonic in which there is no sit down area usually, and you just like park your car and the car hops bring you food and gas? I guess
And
is Flo's a Sonic?
oh boy, I don't think so because I saw like when you see that Christmas tree, it is inside of the establishment,
Okay, okay.
and it'd be weird to just have that inside of it.
Yeah. In the movies, do you think it's like a Sonic?
Huh. I'm gonna look up a picture real quick just to see if it makes sense for it to be. I don't know.
Like, given my mental picture of both a Sonic and Flo's V8 Cafe, they're not too dissimilar. Also, this is maybe the most mundane point we've ever made on this show, but that's fine. Is this one inconsequential restaurant? Is that kind of like a Sonic?
I'm only getting pictures of the real one. I'm guessing it's a Sonic because it looks really small and cramped.
Flo's V8 Cafe is a Sonic. Hard hitting stuff.
You heard it here first, folks. Flo's V8 Cafe is a Sonic, which I guess means it's not a cafe.
Yeah, I mean, there's some sort of implication that like a cafe is a sit-down place, I guess. But
Lucas,
I
we've
don't.
just stumbled upon the fact that Sonics have to be like a lot more common in the Cars universe.
Okay, we're
Like
getting
so
somewhere.
many restaurants are almost definitely Sonics.
Yeah, I mean, if I were designing a world for cars, my thought would be let's have them go indoors as little as possible because
Hmm.
that's just going to be a huge hassle. There's going to be fumes, and we don't know if those affect them. Man, if they just stay in an enclosed space and run, do they
Do they
die?
die?
Hey, John,
I would hope not.
we have established a few times that they have to breathe. So,
Okay,
like,
so Mater doesn't have to breathe. So maybe that's
yes,
something?
what Mater
Okay.
does and does not have to do means nothing to the rest of the cars, and we both know it.
Okay, but Mater was able to hold his breath while driving across the world.
I
So
will.
maybe he just is better at holding his breath, and maybe their lungs are just like somewhat necessary so they can breathe. Maybe they could just breathe in car fumes and be fine.
I mean, that was my thought, but also I will point out that Tokyo Mater or Drifting Mater or whatever that one was called was the one that we were like, this one didn't happen because his evidence was bad. The rest of them, he had actually good evidence, but that one we said it wasn't actually canon. Gosh,
Well,
listen to our show, John.
we didn't say that it wasn't canon. We just said that if any of them weren't, it was that one.
Yeah, and I wanted to call it not canon because Lightning's the lightning god in that one. And gosh, there's no way to reconcile that one.
Just teleport via lightning bolt. Okay, so like to your point, I really agree. Like I wouldn't want there to be any like theaters. I would want everything to be an outdoor theater.
Yeah, and like if it rains, like obviously rain doesn't actually affect. Well, heavy rain obviously can affect humans, but like whatever, rain won't affect them in the same way it affects us, except like when they move. So like I don't know, it
Hmm.
starts raining while they're at the drive-in. Is turn
And
on their
if you're
wipers on their eyes, I guess.
yeah, if you're watching a movie in a theater, even if the like fumes don't affect your lungs, they're gonna smoke up the room at some point because there are that a ton of those lemons and like rusty old vehicles that just produce the blackest of exhaust are gonna be in those theaters, and you're not going to be able to see after like 20 minutes.
Yeah, and also like there have been like a few little like joke scenes where like someone will do a big exhaust and they'll cough or be like, "Oh, that smells bad."
Mm-hmm.
So like it would be unpleasant at the very least. But
Well,
can
could
they
you
just
imagine just sitting in a theater and then the entire room fills with farts?
It wouldn't be good, especially since everyone's constantly farting in this universe.
Everyone's
If
constantly
if
farting
they're
a little bit.
if they're able to like I don't know run at the moment, if like physically run like a race, then they are farting a little bit, like a little bit. And if they start going, they fart more. Man, huh? That was
Lightning
weird, huh?
farts so good.
Gosh, I bet he do though.
You know how at the beginning of the races they like rev their engines? They're basically just
Yeah,
they're just farting to get themselves pumped up.
John.
Could you
I'll,
could you imagine if people did that at like human races?
I would watch the Olympics. I'll tell you that much.
They're about to fire the gun off, and you see all these incredibly tall, slim athletes just start farting to get pumped.
Again, ratings for the Olympics would be higher than ever. You want to talk about Flo or the Motorola Girls? That's the one I've landed on because it's the funniest to me. Or
See,
Ramon
you've said
anymore?
the most times, so I figured you were going for that. I feel like we've said all we can say about Flo and the Motorola Girls, because I don't know if we ever had anything to say at all.
Yeah, we didn't have a ton to say. I think the points about honestly, it was a dumb point, but I think Flo's being a Sonic is like a I don't know, true enough one.
That's
But
the one takeaway I want our audience to have.
Flo's is a Sonic. And I will say, if I didn't have a naming convention for the Auto-Biographies episode, this one would have been called Flo's is a Sonic. But c'est la vie.
Because that's the one takeaway. The one takeaway we want them to be left with after
we just
all
sort
of
of-
this episode.
We just sort of muttered for an hour, but that's fine. Thank you so much for listening. Gosh, we take a while to get to this sometimes. It was a cool thing you did, genuinely. We really appreciate you listening, and specifically, thanks to Emma, who sent us that email. I'm sorry we did a bad job talking about Flo, but Flo's is a Sonic, so that did come from it. And if you want to be like Emma or Christina before her, you can send us an email with your suggestion for a thing for us to talk about at thekachat@gmail.com. The Kachat is all one word, no hyphen in there. Or you could tweet it at us or DM us on Twitter at @thekachat. Or, I don't know, Emma just texts me things a lot about cars, and I appreciate that. So if you personally know us, you can text us about it, I guess.
She never texts me.
You don't know Emma. That's the joke you made.
That's
Say
the
your
joke
things.
I made.
Say your things.
All right. Remember to like, comment,
Agree.
subscribe, rate us on anything you can. Follow us on Twitter.
That's all the things we say. I'm Lucas. He's John.
And
Don't forget to
I'm
float
John.
like a Cadillac and sting like a Beamer. I don't know why I said it all this time. The show's over now.
Beamer.
Yep.
Tiny robot armies taking over your town. Staring, shaking, stuttering into life.